நேசத்தின் நெருக்கம்.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the National News Telecast. I'm Uvin Hettiarji.
I'm Sharama Screeners. First, let's look at the day's headlines.
Foreign Ministry assures that proper steps are being taken for the security of Sri Lankans in the Middle East. Prime Minister directs her attention towards the problems of the university students. Left thumb to be marked in the LPTA elections. 3 former presidents share the same stage. Kehalia Rambukwalla's name removed from a school in Kundasale. Fire kills 150 who were collecting waste petrol in Nigeria. Indian cricket team posts a low total.
Now for those and other stories in detail, starting off with local news. Today is Wap Full Moon Poya Day, which records many important events in the history of Buddha Sasana.
The offering of Katina robes commences with the Wap Poya. The history of Buddha Sasana mentions that Buddha visited the Tautesa heaven and preached the Abhidhamma to his mother and arrived at the Sankasapura in Dambadiva on a day like today. Other significant events that occurred on a day like today are the bringing of a branch of the Jayashri Mahabodhiya from India, the passing away of the Arhat Mahinda, preaching of the Vinaya Pitakaya at the Kupan Ramaya in Arhat Aritta, and the other important historic events that connected with Wap Full Moon Day. The Buddha monks ended observations on Vas on the Wap Full Moon Poya Day. Wap Full Moon Poya Day sermons organized by the Prime Minister's office took place today with the participation of Prime Minister Dr. Harnyamba Surya at the Kotte Rajamahaviharaya. The Dhamma sermon was delivered by the Shasтрapati Rajakiya Pandita Venerable Dr. Rajangane Piyadasthera of the Sunetra Devi Pirivena in Pelpiliana. ChannelEye Rupavahini Corporation telecasted the live Sadharmavasha Poya Day's religious program throughout the day from the Hittetiya Rajamahaviharaya in Mathura, observing 8 precepts, Buddha Puja, Dhamma sermons, Dhamma discussions and other programs including community welfare activities were also included.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs says necessary measures have already been taken to ensure the safety and security Sri Lankans living in the Middle Eastern region. The ministry has further indicated that measures have already been taken through the respective Sri Lanka missions in the region. In view of the significant number of Sri Lankans employed in the region, the Foreign Ministry in a statement has announced that necessary measures to ensure the safety and security of Sri Lankans have already been taken through the respective Sri Lanka missions in those countries. Necessary instructions to ensure the safety of Sri Lankans have also been provided regularly by the Sri Lankan missions. In this context, Sri Lankans living in the Middle East region are requested to pay special attention to these instructions and act accordingly. Furthermore, the ministry has said the relatives of those working and living in the Middle East region may contact the Consular Affairs Division of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for information about their family in the event of an emergency. Accordingly, the Consular Affairs Division can be contacted through 011 233 8812 and 011 7711 194.
A meeting between the University Students Association and Prime Minister Dr. Harnyamba Surya was held today. The attention of the meeting was directed on the unresolved issues faced by the students pertaining to university academic activities and student welfare. The meeting was held at the Prime Minister's office. Inter-University Students Federation and the University Students Association under the Federation, as well as the Student for Power of Educational Rights and University Students Association took part in the meeting. Representatives of the Medical Faculty of Student Activities Committee and all Medical Faculty Students Associations, Inter-University BIC Federation and other associations were present at the meeting.
The Election Commission has decided to mark the left-hand thumb of the voter at the LPTL local government election. Election Commissioner General Saman Sri Ratnayaka made a clarification in this regard during a media briefing held today. Election Commissioner said that at each election, one of the fingers of the voters are being marked, and the same procedure will be effective for the LPTL local government election. Accordingly, he said that usually the little finger of the left hand is being marked at the elections. However, he said that for this election, instead of the little finger, the Commissioner has decided to mark the thumb of the left hand in accordance with Section 53A(3) of the Local Elections Ordinance. The Election Commission made an announcement today over the expenditure limit for the propaganda activities pertaining to political parties, independent groups and candidates contesting for the upcoming general election. Accordingly, each candidate has been provided with a spending limit over the necessary expenditures. Accordingly, for Wani district, the spending limit is at 1,673,273 rupees, and this is a minimum limit stipulated in all 22 districts. The maximum limit has been set for Colombo district, which is at 5,750,000 rupees. Meanwhile, each political party or independent group has been provided with a limit over the necessary spending. Accordingly, the maximum spending limit for Wani district is at 9,913,964 rupees. For Gampa district, the limit is at 81,735,055 rupees. The minimum limit is set for the national list candidate is for Wani district, which is at 4,327 rupees, while the maximum is set for Gampa district with 35,677 rupees. Accordingly, the report with all election propaganda expenditures along with the signatures of the party secretary or independent group leader and the candidates should be handed over to the Election Commission within 21 days since the declaration of the election results. It is compulsory that these reports should be certified by a commissioner for oaths or justice of peace.
45th National Conference of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka was held yesterday evening in Sri Jawadhanpur.
It was held with the participation of former Presidents Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, Maithripala Sirisena and Ranil Wickremesinghe. A panel discussion was held among the former presidents at the conference.
You know, the SLFP, which I chaired at the time, had a socialist economy. And they were against private enterprise. They were nationalizing lots of things, and that was one of the reasons that the Western world was very worried about my coming in. Yeah. But we were able to assure them. We realized that the world had moved forward, far, far from where the SLFP had started its socialist economic policies, and the world had accepted the free market economy. So I came out with the concept that even I found it difficult to accept it first because I was a socialist economist. Yeah. But practically,
you were more socialist.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, but then we realized, having analyzed it through my studies and everything, that we had to accept the free market economy. So we presented the concept of the free market economy with a human face.
Yeah, that was the slogan.
Yes. Yes. And I can remember some leading businessmen in Sri Lanka, when we used to have discussions with the private sector, very sarcastically asking me, "Madam, what's this human face you're talking about?" And then I explained to them the human face was sharing the profits of the free market economy as much as possible equally with all sectors of the population. And it continued very well till the change of government, and for about 2 or 3 years after that, but crashed because of the lack of support from that government. So obviously we were moving forward with the times, and one thing I can say I'm very proud of, well, not I, we should be all proud of, is that while we were waging a very expensive war, we were able to achieve a lot of economic progress. A lot of people don't know this. We were able to increase by 3 times per capita income.
Former President Maithripala Sirisena said that despite introducing new laws or implementing existing provisions in the constitution and legal framework, the state officials often overlook these laws to commit fraud or corruption. He said that therefore the country will not grow properly even if the ruler is virtuous. He disagreed that political leaders are the only culprits who claim to have destroyed the nation. He said that none other leaders in the past were corrupt, beginning from the Prime Minister B.S. Senanayake. He said that in 1956, the government of Prime Minister Bandaranaike, 2 ministers were removed from their positions over fraud and corruption for the first time in Sri Lankan history. The former president said he removed a cabinet minister from his position over fraud and corruption for the second time in history. He said that all those who engage in public service should have a determination not to commit any fraud and corruption and not to misuse any state resources. He said that this should be transmitted from the leader of the country to each citizen. He further said that learn from the professions are also among the corrupt. He added that the minister cannot commit any fraud or corruption without the knowledge of the ministry secretary and the chief accountant. He pointed out that the corruption begins with these trio.
අපි රටේ දේවල් සම්පත් හොරකම් කරන්නේ නැහැ වංචා කරන්නේ නැහැ දූෂණය කරන්නේ නැහැ කියන ඒ අදිෂ්ඨානය ඒ චින්තනය සෑම කෙනෙක් තුලම තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක රටේ ප්‍රධාන පාලකයාගේ ඉඳලා පුරවැසියා දක්වා ඒක යන්නට ඕනේ. මේ ජනාධිපතිතුමියනේ මේ උගතුනුත් ඉන්නවා හරියට හොරකම් කරන අය. ඉතින් මේ
කරුණේවද? මට ඒක ඇහුන්නේ නැහැ. අමාත්‍යංශවල ඔබතුමාලා දෙන්නම දන්නවා ඇමතිට හොරකම් කරන්න බෑ අමාත්‍යංශ ලේකනුයි චීෆ් ඇකවුන්ටන්ට්නුයි දන්නේ නැතුව ඊට පස්සේ තමයි ඒ දෙන්නත් පටන් ගන්නවා අපේ මහේකා එහෙමනම් අපි පොඩ්ඩක් ගහමු කියලා.
තුමා කිව්ව එකයි තියෙනවා. Even other than unsolicited one,
Yes.
anything else, procurement process must go through secretaries.
Yes.
ඒකත් ලේකම්වරුනේ මේ procurement process එක කරන්නේ. Unlike both President Kumanatunga and President Sirisena, I was not elected. I just walked into the office and sat down because no one was claiming it. But I have had the opportunity of serving as Prime Minister under both of them. Basically, what I had was to deal with a country that was bankrupt. There was no money. There were queues. People are finding it difficult to live. So first part of it really was I went into Japan. That was the only country I went to initially. I met Prime Minister Kishida, and I must thank him for all the help that he gave after that. Japan always stood behind us. In everywhere we turned to, Japan had already intervened and made it smooth for us. Secondly, Managing Director of the IMF, Sally Georgieva. Of the others I have to deal with immediately was the Indian Minister of Finance, Nirmala Sitaram. Of course, I was dealing with Mr. Prime Minister Modi. I had known him earlier. So these were the people, and Janet Yellen, Secretary to the Treasury of US. I always said there were 3 women who saved us. Kristalina, Nirmala Sitharaman and Janet Yellen. Really, they were very useful. Look, 17 times we've been to the IMF.
Yes.
17 times we've broken it.
Yeah.
Last was when Mr. Maithripala Sirisena was president, we came to an agreement that we'll have a surplus on the primary budget. And we got that. We had decided on the taxes, how the revenue was to be collected. 2019 we fell back because of the bomb. And we had 1 more year to go.
Yeah.
And they said all of a sudden we are doing all the taxes, we are going to reduce it. And Mr. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa presented the budget in November 2019 and he took all the revenue away.
Yeah.
You all were all very happy because VAT had been reduced and income tax had been reduced.
Yes.
But it was just the beginning of the disaster.
National People's Power Kandy District candidate K.D. Lalkantha says that all the people have rallied around MPP by now without any differences or party or colour. He pointed out that in the coming general election, MPP is expected to get more than 2/3 majority. K.D. Lalkantha expressed these views at a meeting held at Kandy YMBA Hall today. The meeting was organised by the Kandy District Engineers Association of National Intellectual Organisation. NPP Kandy district candidate KD Lalkantha said that there is no challenge to the NPP since there is none in the election campaign to challenge them. He said that the people are also clearing their mind as to what has to be done. He pointed out that there are 15 candidates in the Kandy district and 112 out of them will be elected. He also said that the party is determined to get all the 12 elected and target of the NPP is not just a two-thirds majority but a strong government where the party is not ready to limit the number to 150. He further said that there is no doubt that a strong government with people's representatives will be elected in the next general election. He said that there is no representation of UMP, SLFP or SJB, but all have rallied around the MPP. He also said that MPP is a broad people's campaign and all doubts about it has been cleared after the presidential election, where people who did not participate have been with the party now.
Leader of the Samak Janabalawegaya, Sajid Premadasa, says that special laws will be formulated for women and children after the general election. He said this in a meeting of party activists in Ratmalana area yesterday. Former parliamentarian Iram Vikramatnas of the SJB said that after the presidential election, certain people say that the same party will get a majority of seats and that he cautioned not to people to get trapped in the sort of lies. He added that according to the previous system, president of the SLFP got elected with nearly 40% of the total votes with the help of a floating votes, and the same is relevant for the president from the United National Party also. Former parliamentarian and the leader of the SJB, Sajid Premadasa, said that the victory in the coming general election and the party promised to formulate new laws as a government to secure the economic rights of women as a majority of the country. He added that the political rights, fundamental rights, human rights and the rights of the children will also be safeguarded. He pointed out that no one can escape from these grave problems.
Candidates of the general election have started their campaigns with the issuing of preferential numbers. A few candidates have expressed their views on the general election. MPP candidate Sunil Handunethi said that this is the first election to be held under MPP rule and it was not there previously. The general election will be held now under NPP rule, so the elections has to be held as the most justifiable democratic election of Sri Lanka. He pointed out that it has to be an election where love and respect of those who are against the party has to be entertained. SJB candidate Vijayapal Hettiarji says that steps have been taken to form a new government where a new administration will be in place after the 15th of November in this country. He said that the party will be doing its best during the last 2 to 3 weeks of the campaign to prepare for the general election despite all shortcomings and differences in opinion. He added that the party is going to win definitely. New Democratic Front candidate Piyal Nishantha said that most of those who have been with the group of Sajid Premadasa are disappointed by now and some are leaving the party as well. He added that the party will be able to be satisfied in a short period through a proper progress in the party activities. SJB candidate Ajit P. Pereira said that people of the country were of the opinion that Ranil Wickremesinghe has to be supported since he was able to take initial steps with regard to the management of the economy considering his seniority and maturity. He added that the old guard of the UMP especially appreciated his services and voted for him. He pointed out that by now Ranil Wickremesinghe is in a mood of retirement from politics and not contesting the general election.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that a new government faces the challenge to improve state revenue since the external debt repayments expected to begin from 2027. The former president said in a special statement today that it indicated at least 1% of the economic growth should be achieved each year in order to reach the relevant objectives. Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the country is no longer bankrupt due to the debt sustainability. He said that the government is required to implement the sustainable agreement. It has been reported that the current president will submit amendments in this regard. If so, he said that the parliament has the fiscal power to implement the revised agreement. It is the responsibility of the new parliament to implement it. He said that the nation has several goals that must be implemented to sustainability. Firstly, he said that the country should begin repayment of debts by the year 2028. By the year 2027, he said that the government's revenue should be 15% of the gross domestic product. Currently, the figure is 20 to 12%. To reach the goal, 1% growth should be achieved every year. At the same time, he said the nation should increase foreign exchange reserves. He said that the foreign exchange reserves should be in a range of 12 to 14 billion US dollars. He said that these goals, the nation has to pay off the debt. He said the country has to achieve the above goals within this period. For that, he said the government should ensure economic rapid growth. The former president also said another important aspect of the program is the implementation of the number of anti-corruption measures. He said that the parliament is responsible for all these matters.
The change of name of Skeliya Rambukwella Vidyalaya in Kundasale has drawn the attention of many. The governor of the Central Province, Professor Sarath Abeykorn, in an inquiry responded that his approval has been granted to change the name of the school to Kundasale Royal Primary School. General Secretary of the Lanka Teachers Association, Joseph Starling, along with a group of others today met the Governor of the Central Province at his office in connection with the problem of naming school name boards. General Secretary of the Lanka Teachers Association, Joseph Starling, said that the Ministry of Education has issued an advisory regarding the structural activities in schools, where it has been stated that schools should not be named after persons who are still living. He pointed out that the schools have been named using names of politicians.
Large number of commuters in Sri Lanka fulfill their travel requirements by trains. Public transport has to reach the developed stage for a development of a country, and railways occupy a prominent place in it. Railways, which are started by the British in the 19th century, is still the primary stage. There are about 300 trains that travel daily, and services are provided to thousands of passengers. Railways, which have been functioning at a very low rates price, increased from the fares in the last year, stating the Department of Railways is running at a loss. Accordingly, railway tickets and long-distance fares of tickets have been increased by a huge percentage. Trade unions of the Department of Railways alleges that there is a shortage of engines and power sets that are required for daily journeys, scarcity of the spare parts, engines and power sets which does not suit the country, and their lack of standards has been a valid reason for the shortage of trains and delays. President of the Station Masters Association, Sumedha Sumaratna, said that the allegations made by passengers are 100% true, and there's a leakage inside the newly prepared railway compartments. He pointed out that if that passengers have been able to use the umbrellas in the chain, there is no point of wasting money on preparing the state compartments. He said that there is a mafia of government officials which has gone beyond the politicians, and action has to be taken against this situation. Deputy General Manager of the Department of Railways, N.J. Indipola, has said that the situation has been arisen in the faults of detected by the locomotive engines, and they have been under repair at Ratmalanda Yard. He also said that there is a delay in repairs of these engines that can be defects in the trains running at the present. He said a proper railway service is required for convenience of large number of passengers and for the punctuality which is expectation of every passenger. Immediate attention has been paid by Ministry of Transport, Department of Railways and other concerned quarters.
Now, religious programs were organized in many temples across the island on the occasion of Wap Full Moon Poya Day. Since this morning, devotees have been engaged in offering Amisa and Pratipati pujas in many temples, including Atamasthani and Sri Bodhi in Anuradhapura. And these pujas were held in many temples in Polonnaruwa from this morning. The golden fence built around the bow tree of Sudharma Modaya temple in Kotuwegidara Matale was offered to the Sasana yesterday. This was built on the occasion of the 67th birth anniversary of the Chief Sanganayaka of the Matale district of the Malvatta chapter, Malo Kotuwe Vimaladharma Thera. The presentation of credentials of Venerable Balangoda Sudharma Manayaka Thera, who was appointed as a new Nayaka of the Amarapura Saddharma Yuktiya Mahanikaya, was held yesterday. 2 new houses built in Madugama, Palavatta and Paduka Vataraka areas for low-income earning families were donated recently. These houses were constructed under the
According to the Maritime Protection Agency, the ocean zone of the country has been polluted due to 26 ships during the last year. This information is revealed through observations made with the help of satellite technology with the government of France. The ocean zone of the country has been affected to a large extent during the recent history due to the ship New Diamond, which caught fire near the southern point during the month of September in 2020. The ship Express Pearl also which caught fire near the Colombo harbour in the month of May in 2021. The Maritime Environment and Protection Authority stated that a pilot project to investigate the leakage of fuel in the sea limits of the country with the assistance of the French government. This has been revealed by a data collected from the above project. General Manager of the Maritime Environment Protection Authority, AGM Gunasekara, said that the country has been able to take legal action against only one ship, where it has been revealed that 26 ships have polluted our sea zone. He pointed out that the main reason that has been a ship concerning leaving the maritime zone by the time country that receives data with regard to it, there was no opportunity for the country to take the ship into custody. He pointed out that the compensation of 12 million has been taken after legal action against the ship New Diamond under criminal law. He added that apart from these cases, they have been filed under civil law. Duration of the case cannot be definitely concluded. In the case of the ship MV Express Pearl, Sri Lanka held a file against the criminal law, and the same is in progress by now in the court.
The Academic Award ceremony of Musaeus College was held yesterday at the Peter D. Abreu Memorial Auditorium. Presentation of awards was taken place to the Musaeus students who excelled in academic studies. Dr. Kishani Udugampala Ratnayaka, Institutional Supervision Supervisory Associate of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and a brilliant old girl of the school participated in the function as the chief guest, while another old girl, senior lecturer of the engineering faculty of the University of Sri Jayawardenepura, Ishanka Dadigama, was also present on the occasion. Presentation of awards to students who showed special talents and skills and awarding of colours who has been selected for university entrance in the academic activities of last year was done with the participation of Principal Sanjeevani Bandara and the President of the Board of Trustee Ajit Disoita. The function was attended by a large number of parents and teachers of college staff.
That's it for tonight's English News Telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.